Okay, Martin, hold your horses. Right. A very good afternoon to everybody on the net. Not many today. This is it is one Mike standing in for Gary. As unfortunately Gary had a major computer crash. Right, that's enough of my test pattern. So back to me. Sorry, the color is not so nice as the flower. Okay, we thank the Qatar satellite company for allowing us space on their beautiful satellite, and AMSAT DL, I think, who actually built the bent pipe transponder for us, and BATC for all their valuable information and education as far as digital TV is concerned. Amazing. And all other people who helped us to get on the air. It's amazing. Right, I think I am at least on the air with my primitive setup. Right, the list is very short today, as Gary is streaming, so because he can receive, so he's streaming it. Then it's me, then it's Ed. We have Ed, Papa Yellow 2RN, and then Phil, M0PIT, and then Martin, G8KOE, and Benno, PA3FPX. So what have I been doing? I'm busy with the flight termination system of the next rocket launches for the University of KwaZulu-Natal. And I've built the prototype, which works well, but now I want to rebuild it in SMD to make it much smaller. So I'm busy. I've just started drawing the PC board in SMD, and then I realized that my antique program doesn't have many SMD components in its library, so I'll have to generate a couple. Fortunately, not too many required. So that's what I'm busy with. Yeah, I'll take it easy because I don't want to do it again. You know, once you've done the final board, it must be right. Otherwise, it's hot in Worcester. Completely clear blue skies and the sun is shining. It is now summer here officially. So it's hot and there's not a breath of wind at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to give it to Ed. Let's see what cartoon he has today. Papa Yellow 2, Romeo November for the group from ZS1 Mike. I don't know where Ed is. He's on the list. So Phil, will you take it? And then when you're finished, just leave us a little gap and see if Ed comes on. I think I'm putting enough power for Ed to be able to receive me. I'm D4 with myself, so he should be able to read me. M0PIT for the group from ZS1 Mike.
Das hier ist mein Sektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Küstenwächters. Das Gerät und das Gerät. Überlebensradar.
Mayday, mayday. Hello, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you... Over. We are sinking. We are sinking.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We are sinking. We're sinking.
What are you thinking about?
Yeah, those TH stuff, we always have difficulties as well. Okay, guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from PY2RN. I don't know, I had some problems with the transmission. I don't know why. I tested several times, everything was perfect, but then it happened a lot of strange things when when I try to transmit. I know that my image is small. I don't know. That's regarding another testing that I was making here. So I will not try to change it now because obviously everything is going to go wrong. But hello to everybody on the net. Gary, Leon, Phil, Martin, and everybody. I don't have the list here. Let me get the list. No, it's not here. But anyways, yeah, I I do have something to test on the upcoming days. It's I just got a new add-on for the Pluto. It's actually it's a transverter. So you guys, which are Pluto lovers, you may be interested. This transverter gets capability to run Pluto on HF 50 megahertz, and that's I'm about to test. It's something that I was looking for quite some time. Obviously, as you know, Pluto doesn't have any filtering, so it's gonna give us a little more work for the Pluto. I mean, to implement the filtering and also preamps and for the amplifier. Actually, that's the block diagram for the setup, and basically that's it. I mean, very curious to see how Pluto is going to perform on HF, mainly regarding. Sorry, I was trying to look for something else. Mainly regarding reception. Okay. Yeah, basically that's it. What is going on? I'll try to find who's next for me if I see the list. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's going to be Phil. Hello to Benno. Oh, Benno was interested about this transverter as well. So Benno, wait for some feedback during this week. I hopefully I'm gonna get some tests going on. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to hook up everything for transmission, but at least reception I'm gonna have a good idea. All right. So hello to you, Benno, as well. So back to you, Mike Zero Papa India Tango from Papa Yankee 2 Romeo November.
Right, here we go. Right, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I'm just recovering from being out this morning. It's Remembrance Day in the UK, and it was raining, and so I stood in the rain for a good half an hour. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. I didn't get the beginning of your transmission, Ed. Winter Hill, I don't know, just didn't like it. It wasn't your transmission, it was Winter Hill. It just didn't seem to want to decode your signal at all, so I just had to put it onto the beacon and then whacked it back to you, and there you were. So it does it sometimes, but there we go. Leon, thanks for stepping in for Gary. I did see Gary on the net this morning playing around with, I think it is DATV Easy, and maybe that's causing the problem. But yeah. Anyway, what have I been up to? Well, I've been doing some more testing on DATV Not So Easy, Linux version, of course. And I've always had this problem. Well, I say I didn't have a problem, but other people were telling me I had a problem. That one of the parameters, which is mux rate, I couldn't use it. It just didn't work. If I removed it, it seemed to be fine. And I had the same problem on my script as well. But anyhow, maybe I've got to the bottom of it today. I'm just wondering if it's something to do with the version of libraries that I'm doing. I don't think it's the version of FFmpeg. I now think possibly it's something to do with the libraries. But I only came up with that idea about half an hour ago, so I haven't looked into it. But that may be a job for next week. So what else? You may remember that 1960s receiver that I showed you guys, which is a Plessey PR, 2250. And, have I gone out of focus? It does it sometimes. Yeah. Will that bring it back? Oh no, I've just done defaults. Hang on, let's try again. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's it. It's just OBS not playing ball. Anyhow, you may, as I say, on a Piccolo receiver, and I said I was going to hopefully change some of the capacitors in it. Well, I can't remember if I told you guys. I was on the dreaded eBay, and I was looking for tantalum capacitors to replace the ones that had blown up and I had replaced with electrolytics. Anyhow, accidentally, I came across these. And it is a pack of ceramic capacitors. And you get, I think it says you get 50 of each. And it goes up to 10 microfarads at 50 volts, which is something I would never have imagined that you could manufacture ceramic capacitors at 10 microfarads at 50 volts at this size. Like, hang on, let me get one out. This beast here, this little beast here, is 10 microfarads at 50 volts. It is actually smaller than the 10 microfarads 16 volt tantalums that is in the actual receiver. Anyhow, I opened it up, and particularly there's a lot of them in the phase lock loop, and I went in the unit that is the phase lock loop, which consists of about, I don't know, must be about 12 boards. Little boards, only about so big, square, only like that. There must be about 12 of them. and I went in and replaced all the electrolytics that I'd put in, and then I decided to change a couple more that hadn't blown. So I did that, and I thought, well, okay, in for a penny, in for a pound, as they say, I'll power it up. And yeah, I powered it up, and what happened? Another tantalum went up. It didn't go up in smoke, it just went short circuit. So that was, didn't take too long, because it was in the phase lock loop, and it's quite easy to, if a capacitor's gone short, you just have to stick a DVM on the power rail, when there's no power on it, of course. This is power feeding the phase lock loop, and it will show up as a short, and you just pull the boards out one at a time till the short disappears, and then you know what board it's on, and then you just go and have a look and make a decision, you know, which capacitor you think's gone short, and there's probably only about 3 on the board that it could be, so it's just a case of cutting them out to remove the short and then replace it. So after that, having replaced it, put it all back together again, powered it up, and it worked. And maybe on my second over, I might power it up for you. But it looks like my Winter Hill has frozen. I'm assuming my transmission is still going through. So anyhow, what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand it over to Martin. So this is M0PIT. I'm going to put up a test card. There's my test card, hoping I'm still transmitting okay. And hand it over to Martin. So, yeah, that's frozen, so I'll just kill my transmission.
This is one of those days when there's going to be lots of problems. So I was sort of getting worried whether I'd actually make it. Yeah, it's got sound I can hear. Yeah, I'm testing PA that I repaired at the moment, and I did have some sort of problems and things and such like, but it all seems to be, touch wood, going quite well. In fact, going better than I'd hoped. Let's see, it's one that originally, let's go over to there and show. It's that one that I'm running at the moment. That's where it had the burn up when I had it in the other configuration, and that's what it with the soot removed as such. So that's one running at the moment, and the configuration. I've got loads of other pictures that are going to get in the way before I get to the one of, anyway, the old PA. Well, that's tests that I was carrying out on the bench with my crude measuring device, which was playing with the circulator as well, which is what I've got in line as also at the moment. And that had interesting results on the tests on the bench, looked good. It's my faithful meter, been with me for years and years, and you just have all these marks around it of what I used to get. I don't know how many years I've had that. It originally came from surplus place in Worthing in Sussex in the UK called GWM Radio, which I know Phil will know, but you just go in there and find all sorts of bits and pieces. So the in fact the die-cast box came from there, and also the unit that I'm using to actually pick off the SWR, etc., which uses those sort of ceramic-y, sort of pin diode things. That's a closer look at the circulator. Oh, another picture of that. We've been there before. Now that's when I was testing the circulator on my old PA. I had it sort of running and playing with it, etc., etc. another picture of it. God, I should have edited these, apologies. But anyway, a block of wood to add its support. But if we move on, that's what I'm running at the moment. When I first put it up there, I had some instability problems because I hadn't bothered to put the cover on the PA board as such. I thought I could get away without it, but I couldn't. A bit later on it'll show. I thought the sort of side of the die-cast box, etc., everything would be okay. But we'll move on. I think there's one eventually. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the circulator. It seems to, I think, be helping with things on my weirdo setup. Yes, that's the inside of the PA. Now with the heatsink fitted, which was a tight fit. I had to file some bits away for the pillars, but it did fit and it did make all the difference. And so far, having fitted that, before fitting that, it was frequency conscious as I came down to this channel, up to this channel. Instability would come in, and I think it was self-oscillating because I was having trouble dekeying. But having put the screening can on, it's a different beastie. So I'm quite happy with that. Let's go back to me. And the other thing I've been playing with is NDI, which I've got working quite well. I had some initial problems that I'd played with. I can't remember whether I mentioned it last week, actually, thinking about it. Maybe I did. But I played with a device that had changed the settings of of OBS. OBS was no longer on the private network, so NDI didn't work. But that's grabbing from my laptop that's alongside here, and grabbing my outside pictures. So that's what the outside world's looking like. Somewhat wet and nasty out there. Really, the ground's very, very muddy, but not too bad. I think that's about all I've been playing with. I'm still well and truly humoured with the PA. Touchwood is still working. And I've turned the autofocus off on this camera at the moment. So if it's out of focus, it's because I set it out of focus. Because I started having problems with it with the lighting I got in here, that it would sort of hunt a little bit. So I stopped doing that. Yeah, I feel guilty that Gary isn't on, because I think it's all my fault. I shouldn't have mentioned anything, and he'd have made it, but I think I caused him to make things worse. Anyway, hopefully he may have got back up. I must admit I missed the start of Leon, your transmission, and I didn't mean to be transmitting at the time the net was supposed to start. I had a sort of problem with the receive program. Sort of I had to change. I've gone over to the Winter Hill, which client, which seems to work well. And yeah, you said you had problems with oh dear, Ed, wasn't it? That's right. My Winter Hill client initially didn't until I re-clicked on the quick tune that I've got. It's almost as though it was different frequency to what the previous station was. I don't know whether that's so, but anyway, I clicked on it and it then locked in straight away. And I think you had the same effect of going over to the beacon I was seeing coming back. But yeah, I was using OpenTuner prior to that, but just as I was about to, just before the net, it did. The effect that occasionally it does is that it suddenly opens up a window elsewhere, not in OpenTuner itself. So you have a floating window. No, you can use it that way, but it just annoyed me. It doesn't happen. I don't know why it does it and when it's deciding it's going to do it, but it just seems to do it. Anyway, lip sync is miles out, is it? Apologies if it is. Yeah, I'll have a look at that. Yeah, I'm not listening to myself. He says 1 1. Just spit out. Okay. Perhaps things have shifted. I don't know why. I haven't changed anything for ages. Perhaps I need to reboot the PC. Anyway. Thanks, Benno. Perhaps the gremlins have been in. Right. Let's see whether the gremlins are with you there, Benno. Let's pass it around to you. I'll put a test card and I'll look at my sync later. All sorts of things happen when you start trying to correct the lip sync. Seven threes around to you there, Benno.
Yeah, now the ball is at my court, so I need to organize my lip sync. But luckily, I'm not that prominent on the camera. Good afternoon, guys. Good morning. Good evening. And Leon, I understand. I was slightly late, and I already saw Ed just at the beginning of his transmission, which was good, by the way, immediately here, but I didn't set everything up right, so I missed you, Leon, but we can cover that in the next over, because I understand I'm the last one on the list. I was quite busy over the last few weeks. I had a very nice rally here with the local Day of the Amateur here in only 30 kilometers from here, where I was invited by Dave from the BADC to help out a hand, and they asked me to display my proud homebrew multi-transceiver, which was on display there, and I think that's great. It's thanks, Martin. I wasn't aware of that. I should check the WhatsApp box quickly before I hand over. I had a very nice day there together with Dave and Phil. Didn't do too much BATC promoting myself. Next to I was also seeing all the other parties, other department activities of myself, and follow those and make some connects there as well. So that was 2 weeks ago, and then I had on Saturday one of the relatives decided to get turn his birthday, so I had to go there, and then last Sunday again I had to go to another birthday, which was good, but I missed the round a bit here and there. Commenting on Ed, I already have that transverter installed actually already since at least a month or two, 3. I got it in Friedrichshafen, which was somewhere in June, July, and I got it there for a decent price. I haven't used it much because I don't have to, and I had other things which were taking my attention. But I did connect it to do the spec once, and can say it works. But I found, you know, at the Pluto, that one gives a very bad second harmonic suppression. So if you calculate that 83 megahertz, for instance, for 80 meters, 83 megahertz, and then the second harmonic will be on 160.6. Well, that's not a big problem. The problem itself is that out of this box, I saw 3.6 coming. I saw 8.2 of 7.2 coming while transmitting on 80 meters. I even saw 14 meter. I saw 28 megahertz. So I saw a lot of spikes coming out of the transmitter. So that decided me to put it aside for now, and that was 3 months ago. I recently bought this thing from good old our Chinese friends, which looks pretty stable, pretty neat, a good price, I would say. And I said, I have a decent amplifier now. Well, like everything coming from China, things are a little bit different. But I can say I have it in my hand here. Can I get it on focus? So it's really tiny. And it will run on 12 volts. And if you only put 12 volt on it, it gets really, really hot. It's cooking within, well, 5 minutes. So it's really doing something. And I put in about 20 milliwatt of power from one of the preamps out of my tracking generator, and I actually saw very close to 8 watt output on a straight line. It actually does more on 80 meters. It has a nice, how should I say it? I should do it right. So it has a nice lump and then evens out all the way. So it has, and the lump is about 10 dB, so it does on 80 meters a little bit more, and then on 40 meters it evens out, and it runs up to 700 whatever megahertz, pretty stable, and doing actually that 30 dB gain, 25, 30 dB gain I could get out of it. And I put 20 milliwatts in, and I got 6-7 watts out easily. So now I have to calculate myself. Is that 20-30 dB? But okay, you get the idea. Out of this transverter should come 10 milliwatts, so it should do great behind it. And then you have 1 or 2 watts out on the HF bands, which would be ideal to put in an next amplifier, probably somewhere on your desk. Like myself, I have one of the solid-state amplifiers where I put 3-4 watts in, and I get 100 watts out of there, and I don't have to build one other for that one. But well, I will put that one also behind it and see what it's doing with all the spurious, all the on the spec, and we'll report that back. For the receiving part, I got better results from my friend who has tested his one on the Langstone, and he's using it combined with a Langstone. To remember, that's a Pluto with a Raspberry, and that one works flawlessly, and he was quite astonished on the quality coming out of the signal responses of what he receives normally with his HF transceiver. So I still have an idea that it will work, but obviously it won't do any wonders. And I'm still thinking about what I'm going to do with all the filtering, because I don't want 10 bands with filters in there just for the HF, but I might need to. Okay, well, that's that. Phil, the not so easy. I still haven't worked with it. I haven't. It's a big mistake of myself, I agree. I was going to, but then things went crazy in my private life. I was quite busy, and hey, we are 1 month later and I still need to start working on it, because I see the quality what they are doing, and I think that's the next generation where we are heading. But I just needed time to figure out how that works. Obviously it will give us a lot of extra problems, but that's part of our hobby, is it? Well, nice job, Martin, well, for your amplifier, and I think you've done a great job there. I actually have played a little bit with amplifiers over the last few days besides this one, because one of my friends said he had an RKI one which he has blown, and he asked me if I could just make it the preamp and then use it for the narrowband on the satellite, but it will only do 1 or 2 watts, so that's too low, and I'm going to put a new power FET in there. By the way, RKI, everyone knows him probably. He's a very busy guy, but he only lives like 20 kilometers from here. So I should also go to him and say, hey, repair this one. But I probably end up doing it myself, because that's more fun. Microphone, passing it on, and I will be in another round. Passing it on to G8PQH. What name should fit with that one? What is the? Let's see. I will be over in the next part. I will be better prepared, because, like I said, actually I did a nice walk in the forest this morning. Frank, I did a nice walk in the forest this morning, and did about 10-12 kilometers in the forest, which is nice because it was completely dry. It was very humid, even foggy, but the forest itself, it's marvelous. And at the moment, if I look outside, I see blue skies. So we have great weather today for a Sunday. It's doing its name honor. Frank, PQH from Papa Alpha, number 3, Foxtrot, Bravo, X-Ray. Do I have a test card? Somewhere along the line I have. Okay.
All right, sorry about the delay, everyone. I don't know quite what was what was going on there. I was so excited about this lip. You see, I was so excited about the lip sync video. So thank you, Benno, for pointing that out. I actually had a very nice narrowband QSO with Benno last week or the week before, and we were talking about my narrowband setup. So like Martin, I've been thinking about amplifiers. So I have the amplifier and a Pluto that isn't particularly frequency locked by the dish, and then the narrowband kit that I put up in a nice box some time ago, I was trying to use with a separate antenna, and the helix just wasn't very good. So we had a QSL on the narrowband, and Benno suggested using a Wilkinson combiner or a splitter and feeding the signal from the Pluto I have set up for narrowband into the preamplifier and the amplifier. So actually that's what I did. Actually, I don't know if I can show you this. Where would it be? Desktop. That would probably do, wouldn't it? Nope, that's not the desktop we want. It's this one. So yeah, so here I have a picture of a power supply for the remote amplifier, and that grey box next to it was the original narrowband setup that I built, and which I was trying to use separately. But what I actually got hold of was one of these mini circuits Wilkinson splitter, which in the picture is the lower bit with 3 ports, and there's a filter, a bandpass filter shoved on top of it. And so I just feed the signal from the narrowband Pluto in the shack over about 12 meters of RG58, which sits as a very good attenuator. Let's just check I've got some audio actually while I think about it. Yeah, I have. Good. Okie doke. Yeah, so that's not. Yeah, so the narrowband signal is probably about. This is with 60 odd dB of attenuation, so that's what would that be? Minus 25, something like that. So it would be plus, yeah, be about 4 or 5 watts, which is about right, I think. The wideband signal is like that, a bit more strong with 100 kilohertz bandwidth resolution. Interestingly enough, if you send both signals at the same time, you get some pretty bad intermodulation distortion. Well, it's not terrible, but it's about 30 dB down. So the signal on the right is an intermod product between the narrowband and the wideband. But maybe I need to. I can't see a particular reason for transmitting both signals at once. Maybe I'm need to back off the drive a bit. But anyway, that's what I've been doing. So go back onto cam 1. So I came in a bit late as I was stuck in a Remembrance Sunday thing. My wife is singing at one of these events, and it was quite moving. So and there was drinks afterwards, lots of drinks. So I think I will have a quick check. I think it is Nigel next on the list. Where double check that. It is Nigel 2E0EHH. So I'll just put my audio sync bat and ball back for a bit, because I like that, and then drop carrier and then hand it over to Nigel 2E0EHH from G8 PQH with the worldwide net. Okay, there was a bit of a carrier, but it's not making it. So Nigel, we'll give you another chance. Yeah, we also say hello to Frank and Nigel. Nigel, if you can read us. Okay, right. Ed, your transmission was fine with me. It started a bit hesitant, but I got the cartoon very good. Whoa. No deals on the band today. That was a good one. And Phil, yes. Oh no, first Ed, I see that's also a DX Patrol, that transverter you showed there, but it's obviously not the QO-100 version. You said that was specifically for HF. Now I wonder whether it's made by the same, what is it, the Portuguese guy or somebody who makes the DX Patrol. I know Gary's got one, I think. He was playing with one some time ago. So yeah, interesting. Right, Phil, yeah, the ceramic caps. Okay, firstly the tantalums, I hate them with a passion. Tantalums, oh, they always drop you. So I never build with tantalums. I only replace tantalums with electrolytics or anything else. But yeah, they are terrible. They go dead short, and then your supply choke starts to smoke, and then you know which one it is if you don't have cards that unplug like you have. But yeah, the ceramics, if you look at these tiny little bucking regulators that we use so often nowadays, they always have little chip caps on them. Those are several microfarads, those little chip caps. So the one you were holding there is actually physically quite big. The SMD ones for the same type of microfarads is even smaller. It looks like a normal SMD. It's a little bit fatter, a little bit thicker. But yes, it's several microfarads. It's absolutely amazing. Those layers in the ceramic, it must be very thin. I don't know if it's in silver or what they use as the actual plates, but it must be very, very tiny, very thin. But it works. They do go short sometimes. I've had ceramics go short, and they really catch me out because I never suspect a ceramic to go short, but they do. Sometimes they just go noisy because they go leaky, and other times they go dead short. But yeah, not nearly as often as tantalums do. Those I hate. Okay, Martin, yeah, doing fine with your repaired PA, and I see you've got the circulator in. Yeah, I remember I said a couple of weeks ago, PAs should have their covers on. You don't run a PA open. If it's a single stage, it's okay. But if it's multi-stages on one board, the gain is simply too high. And you need the damping, or else the thing's going to take off on its own. So bear that in mind. Okay. Right, Benno. Nice little amp you showed there. What, 2 megs to 400 and something megs or so? That's very wide. Yeah, you'll have to put plenty of filtering ahead of it and after it probably, depending on how hard you drive it. But make sure that you only put the carrier in that you want with no harmonics, because you'll just waste power amplifying the harmonics as well. So try and filter as early as you can. But you can make tunable filters, man, like the old HF rigs, like the old Yaesu stuff. Which one was it? It was not the FTDX 100 that had switched filters as you change the bands, but the 101, there were several 101s, but I know that had an incremental filter, and you could just turn it. There it's 80 meters, there it's 40 meters, and so if you build something like that, it's low power, so you can make very small and have that just after your mixer sort of thing, before you go into the first amp. That should make a big difference, and not so bulky. Okay, Frank, see you're also busy there. You've got the mini circuit splitter. Yeah, I also use lots of those mini circuits modules, and I'm salvaging a lot of them from those Doppler receivers that I'm stripping. That thing is basically based on mini circuits modules. And what is it? Those synthesizers, those cavity synthesizers, those American things. It's got two of those in each receiver. One running on S-band and the other one running in the VHF, because it is a triple conversion receiver in the end. Anyway, very handy stuff that. So okay, Nigel, we'll give you a gap. Otherwise, you take it, Ed. 2E0EHH for the group. Otherwise, Ed, PY2RN. ZS1 Mike is listening.
Maybe he can join after Frank again. Yeah, so that's the current view from outside. That's my transmission, my DATV transmission dish. And the box you see behind it is where I have all the equipments. I have Pluto there, and I have the Nokia PA. The temperature inside that box at the moment is 43 degrees. The outside temperature is showing 32, but no, it's higher. Actually, it's more 34 now. It's 34. Very hot lately here. The temperature reaching 43, 44 degrees. It's going to be soon above 40 degrees Celsius. It's been hell. Very, very hot. And glad that you guys got the initial transmission. I must confess, Leon, that I lost your first part of your transmission because I got late, and when I started transmitting, it was not switched on. Then I just remember that I this morning I just implemented my PTT switch, which is remote controlled by those 433 megahertz relays. I just installed this relay on the amplifier 28 volts bias feed, and I must switch on, and I totally forgot. I even put DATV here on the back, but maybe I need to put on the front, so it will help me to avoid forgetting that I need to switch on. Yeah, one more switch just to make life more complicated. Regarding the transverter, yes, it's from the same guy, Tony from the X Patrol. He makes those transverters for the Pluto. And yes, Benno, I was expecting that. I mean, dirty transmission. Yeah, I do believe that we're gonna have to not believe, but I'm sure that we should put filters. I do have I'm gonna use. I do have this amplifier you just showed, this Chinese one. Yeah, it gets very hot. And but the intention here is to use KRP Labs amplifier along with their filters. I don't remember how many filters I bought from them. They come through kits, but I remember I got I don't know, for the low bands, I think 80 meters, 40 meters. I also got for 6 meters. But yeah, gonna need to use those filters after the transverter. for the transmission and reception. Yeah. But anyways, that's great. Tantalum capacitors, yeah, they are pretty bad. I remember I had an ISO FT102, FT102, beautiful radio. If you guys remember, that radio with 2 meters in front of, and it uses three valves, 6146B. It uses 3, not the usual 2, but uses 3. And that radio has 2 issues. First is the incredible amount of relays, which cause lots of problem. That's the first issue. And the second issue, that radio is an ocean full of tantalum capacitors. Yeah, not not very, although it's a very beautiful radio, and it's good when it's working. It's really good when it's working, but very susceptible to fail considering those 2 issues, relays and tantalum capacitors. I didn't know that Gary was out, so thank you very much, Leon, for coordinating the net today. I really missed that. I don't know what happened to Gary. I know that Martin mentioned something, but hopefully nothing serious in his station. So not sure what happened to Gary. Say hello also to Frank and Nigel. Nice to see you guys. Good transmissions. I don't even know if my link is synced. I don't know. I didn't test. I need to use some tool like Frank just showed with the balls and the sound. But I really don't know. I'm also for Phil. I'm also using Not So Easy under Windows. It's version 1.1. But I didn't modify Pluto firmware. I'm still using one of the old versions from FIOU. Kind of reluctant to change the firmware on the Pluto. I know that it's working. Several people are using now that new firmware, but I don't know. Things are good for me here. Not sure if I'm gonna switch. Well, probably sometime. Yeah, I'm gonna upgrade to the new firmware and try to explore all the possibilities, which seems very interesting. All right. Okay, guys. Nice to see you all. Very nice and interesting DATV Net as usual. Thank you all, and have a great upcoming week. So now again with Phil, Mike 0 Papa India Tango from Papa Yankee 2, Radio November, and the Worldwide DATV Net.
Yeah. Right. Am I in focus? I think so. I think so. I'm sure Martin will tell me if I'm not. But anyhow, Benno, those small amps. Yeah, I've used them. Still got them actually. And do they get hot? Yeah, they really do get hot. And I think that I put fans on mine, little fans, just to help cool the heatsink. I'm not quite sure how much of the heat transfers through the board onto the heatsink, but it certainly psychologically felt better. But boy oh boy, do they get hot. Ed, yeah, your audio was in sync. Well, I thought it was anyhow. And not so easy. yeah, I mean, I use, I've been trying 1.3, and I must admit, I mean, I use Linux, and the only part of not so easy that I use is the actual script itself. I don't do the install of it. I just use the plain script, and of course the config as well script, and I just use those. And that might be the reason why I've been having problems with it, because I've compiled my own version of FFmpeg, and as I said, today I think there's some issue with the libraries that I'm using and the ones that Not So Easy expects to see. I mean, I might be totally wrong, but it does cause me problems if I use this mux rate parameter in FFmpeg. So I just remove it and everything works fine. But as I say, I think it is possibly a problem with the libraries that I'm using. Yeah, the old Plessy receiver. Well, I've powered it up. I'm going to switch over to the roving cam, which is stuck on a chair. So this is the beast. This is now powered up. I don't have a suitable antenna I can plug in the back, not from here anyhow. And you can hear just a little bit. There you go. This is I think it's about late 1960s, and in its day it was literally the state of the art. Today it's quite old-fashioned, but it's now working, having replaced probably about 10 tantalum capacitors now over the years, and it's quite good because you've got upper and lower sidebands, but you've also got an intermediate sideband, which basically means that, whoops, if you go there, I can actually switch from upper and lower sidebands. Oh, I'm on, that's it, sorry, it's that one. So when it's ISB, you've actually got two outputs coming out of the receiver, an upper and a lower. And the reason why that is done is so that you can actually transmit two signals at the same time. And bearing in mind this is PSK, so you can actually have two PSK channels, one on the upper and the other on the lower sideband. That's one of the requirements for the receiver. But it's a lovely beast. There's not many of them that still run. Well, there's not that many ever built, but there's not that many that still run today, purely because the transformer has a tendency to go open circuit, and as the actual power supply delivers quite a few different voltages with different windings on the transformer, it's virtually impossible to get one replaced. Having said that, I was thinking about this this morning, thinking, oh, shall I power it up for everybody? There you go, you have me back now. And I thought to myself, well, with these little buck converters and little switch mode power supplies that you can now get, I reckon that in the area of the power supply, because it's a module, and it must be, oh, I don't know, what's that? I don't know, 150 square or cubed. That's quite a bit of space, and I reckon that one could actually... Martin, he says try 19.6 kilohertz. Not on that aerial. It's actually a CB aerial. I don't think it will pick up, but I have had it going, Martin. I did try it yesterday on 17.2 kilohertz, and it did pick up the signal, only locally though. But it will go down to that type of frequency, but not on the antenna that I've actually got on it. It just wouldn't pick it up. Unless I transmitted it locally, I suppose I could. It might pick it up. But it's not very good for low frequency stuff. It's not very good for high frequency stuff, come to that either. It's only a cheap old bit of wire. But it's still a commercial one. But it's designed for CB. And it's what I use on the van when I go on my travels. So I think that's about it from me. I don't have much else to talk about, not this week anyhow. Don't have any videos, any new videos, but perhaps I might do another one so you can see a new video. When I go down to the museum, I'll chat up Jackie down there and see if there's any museum videos that she will give me the okay to put up on the satellite. But anyway, that's enough of me. I'm going to hand it over to Martin. So this is M0PIT. I'm going to put up a test card, and then I'm going to hand it over to Martin. So I'll see you next week, guys, all being well. That's me.
Yeah, okay there, Phil. All good. And pleased you got the receiver going. Yeah, 19.6 is the UK. And you've got 18.3, which is the French. That are usually fairly big signals. Which, if we go over to the screen, that's them there on my SDR and my little amped probe on the roof, which the amp probe's only got, I think it's about a 4-inch probe on it, but that works reasonably well. That's using the SDR play, LSPDX. There are nice big signals that you can usually get. Good starting point to play with. Down that low anyway. 18.3 and 19.6, and lots of other junk that's coming in here. Do get a load below down here, which is when the central heating comes on. I think when the boiler keys up, it produces loads of nasty stuff. But anyway, just thought we'd pop that up. But yeah, it's good on your receiver. You'll be able to get something ready for the SAQ at Christmas. I'll do another transmission, so not long to wait. So you need to get building a little aerial and stick up so you can have a go. So that'll be the next transmission. Usually Christmas, I can't remember which date it is on now. It's Boxing Day, I think, if I remember rightly. Early hours, but there you go. If you're around, I should certainly have a go. Those little amplifiers. Now, I did play with one. Going back, I'd built a 77 module up, which gave quite a few watts out, a reasonable amount of watts, and I was using one of those little stages to drive it, and aim was to use it on DATV, and I'd been testing it in the garage on just using this sort of signal generator type signal in, and all was working okay. so the main sort of shack being in obviously the lounge here, I was keen to sort of try and see how it worked out. So I hooked it all up on the bench, and I'd forgotten about the in my excitement to get going. I think it might have been I don't think it was a Pluto. I think it was the other one. But anyway, I forgot about the calibration spike, and that killed both the preamp and the main PA. Went up in smoke. So I got very disillusioned at that point. I did use another one of those modules somewhere, and it died as well at some stage, and I can't remember what I was using it for. But yeah, another good net. Hope Nigel's. I did see some pictures from Nigel. It didn't seem to get his signals on the upcome, but I did see his test card. So hopefully he may have another go at the end and see whether he can get things through. Don't think I've got much else to add. And yeah, it's definitely my fault that Gary's not on. And yeah, all these parameters that you can set up, I think are great. But it's what I like about DATV Easy. It has this little box that you tick that says all automatic, which suits me down to the ground. I think it's great if you know what you're doing, but it's easy to get lost, and I never remember what I altered. It's the same as when you've got lots of presets on a particular panel, etc., and you start twiddling them, and you suddenly think, "Oh, I remember where that is." Yeah. Okay, there, Phil. Yeah. Yeah, you've got lots of presets and you think, well, I remember where they are, but you never do. So one of the video courses that I was on, the instructor there, that was on the JVC videos, the old mechanical ones actually, and he said the first thing you do is to mark up where all the presets are on the board with a felt tip pen. So he said, I know you're going to twiddle them, at least you can put them back where they were. So I'd sort of learnt that lesson and do that. It's the same as sort of doing alignment, you know, you sort of think, oh, and you lose your way. But anyway, all good. I think it's Benno next, isn't it? Isn't it Benno next? He says. I'm losing the pot's putting up. Yeah, it is Benno. Yeah, good to see you. And yeah, I thought you were talking about my leagues. I haven't checked my lip sync and haven't adjusted it for absolutely ages, but never quite sure. But yeah, good to see you. And I don't know how you find all the time to play with all the different things you do. I'm retired and I don't seem to get that much done, but can't believe the PA so far. It seems to have settled down. And yes, I thought when with the cover on the PA there, Leon, that you'd say something. I was going to keep quiet about it, but no. You know, the diecast box was a little tight fit, but the price on eBay was it was a brand new one that someone was selling, which is why I went for that size. But it did just fit in there with a little bit of filing. Anyway, right, that's a lot of waffle from me. Hopefully see you all next week. And around to you, Benno, rather, a test card, and over to you.
Getting rid of my noise. And somewhere along the line I have a face camera. Fine, thanks Martin. And yeah, on that marking on that board, I'm one of the old guys, also piece of paper, writing everything down, forgetting to write it down, then you will have a problem afterwards. But I recently found out that the new technicians use just this, which is obviously in handy, which you always have with you, and you just make a photo of what you're doing before you start. and that sounds very simple, but it's doing exactly that. It is disaster control to turn back. Just make a photo before you start, then do whatever you want, and then if you're stuck, you can go back. So that's one for the oldies, because all the youngsters seems to do it. And even we are at the company, we take apart some motor. You take off some leads, you just look at it, you say, okay, you mark the leads 1, 2, 3 and things like that. It's simple. And then you forgot to write down which one was 1 and which one was 2 and which one was 3. And then they just make a picture of it, and they are home free. That's just so simple. And this is how but they all seem to know, and that's the modern way to doing that, Martin. Yeah, well, I think this tiny amplifier has enough things about it. I see it's a 12 volt, and then there is also a 8705 on there, and I think there's just too much on it. And I will fault find it for get a little bit the power off, maybe put separate voltage on whatever you want. Overdrive the spectrum analyzer. No, never, Mike. It tells me 1 milliwatts of 1 watt can go in there, but 0 dB is 1 milliwatt. Is up in the screen, and I never put on any amplifier which is in there, because I don't believe those, and I think or attenuation in my amplifier, I will always use external amplifiers. Not me. Okay. What I have seen, and that is frank, yes, you can expect some mixing there, and well, that's the problem of measuring. I have a nice story. I was when I was young. I built a nice TV transmitter on 70 cents. You know, the AM one, where you have to filter one sideband and then put it into a module, and took me ages to get a decent signal of it, and I got a very nice transmitter in the end, boxed nicely. And then one friend said to me, hey, my company has an analyzer, do you want to measure it? Well, I still up to today, I wish I never went, because that was the final day, the last day I ever used this transmitter, because obviously the mixing was terrible, and the spurious coming out of there was terrible, and I never used it again. And that's basically I think measuring is good, but at a certain stage you should stop measuring, and never mind, unless you get a problem, and then you start measuring again. But okay, I have to agree, we should put a decent signal into the air, and if we have the possibility of measuring our signal, we should measure it. But then again, you will get all kind of strange things, and you're scared. And yes, it's only 30 dB, but it looks very bad. And yeah, I think you will get all kind of problems Luckily, those sidebands are still within the band we are allowed to transmit, and we are sending it up, so we don't worry about it too much. I believe the satellite itself is only doing 10 dB showing, so it will never show on the noise floor again. But then again, yeah, one of those things, Frank. Nice to see you, and I think you will find a decent, acceptable value there eventually. And Leon, yeah, you answered basically on the question I am thinking about over the last few months on this transverter, which yes is indeed QRP Labs from Portugal. A little over 100 euros, and it transfers it with 70 megahertz downwards. And I still want to use it to check what the lowest possibility frequency will be, because how fun it would be if it would be 19 kilohertz, but most likely not. But it's doing HF up to 50 megahertz. And I think I want to I need to do some filtering afterwards, that is for sure. And I was thinking about building a lot of filters and switching from one filter to another filter in order to solve the problems. But basically you said, well, adjustable filters, and I don't want big capacitors on the front, but I can drive it electronically. And if you think about a varicap, a variable capacitor with some voltage on there, somewhere between 0 and 30 volts, doing some capacitance, variable capacitance, I might make something, or cook something. But then again, I'm already thinking about maybe our Chinese friends build something simple, a simple chip where you tell it to filter that frequency out, and that's the next step. But any ideas there are appreciated, because I think I'm not going to build half a dozen filters inside my my multi-transceiver, because it's overdone. But it really needs it. So, and yes, it can be very small, doing only 10 milliwatts, even down to 1 milliwatt or something. So that's not a big problem. And then after that, I will amplify it again. Okay, Frank, passing it on to you. Greetings to you guys. Have a good week. And yes, finding the time, Martin. I'm not that often on the satellite. Maybe that's the reason. Aye. And that's wink wink. But then again, we all have to decide what we are doing with our 24 hours. And mine is also occupying the company for some money to spend to my to buy some extra tools for the filters. Okay. Yeah. Give me the schematic, Mike. That's a good idea, because that's probably something like that needs to be done. But that's probably switched again, and I'm still thinking about a tunable one. But then again, I know Leon has quite a lot of experience there. I haven't looked into the HF ever yet, so I'm new to the low frequencies. The DC bands are, well, off limit for me. I don't like it, but I have to build something now. That's more or less the answer. Frank, passing it on to you. PQH PA3 Fox Bravo X-ray. And the test card. Yes, there.
a Milo video again. I don't know why. I just don't know why I'm not on here. Struggling. Oh, here we go. Hello. Oh, here we go. Hello. Yeah, finally got it on board. Let's put my ugly mug up. Yeah, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everybody. Yeah, I put my test card up before I started, but the signal was very low. I thought that's strange, so I cut him. I had to reboot the system, and but no, I think we're all right now. I can still see myself. I can hear myself just in the background, so that's good. Yeah, so I hear that Leo's doing the net control. Thanks, Leon. Brian, Leo, yeah. Ed, Phil, Martin, Benno, and Frank. Frank, I couldn't get your signal, mate. I don't know what was wrong. But not, Frank, yeah, I couldn't get your signal. So I don't know. Everything seemed to be okay, but just couldn't get it for some reason. I don't know. Phil, yeah, your signal only could get in and out a little bit, but hey-oh, these things come to try us. I was a little bit late coming onto the net because it's Remembrance Parade on the 12th of Remembrance Sunday, so I tend to go to, well, I go to that, so it made me a bit later coming back. But yeah, funny enough, I mean, systems are just, you know, they work and then you have nothing changed, and then you come back again and it don't work. I don't know. For some reasons. I don't know what firmware I'm using, but I'm using a Puto. It must be 2 years old, so I don't know if there's any better firmware to put on. I don't know, but I like the idea if it's working, leave it alone, because when I tend to use stuff and trying you're doing better, but you end up knackering it up, so to speak. Anyway, enough for me. I've got nothing to show you or tell you really this week, other than the PA's working itself. So, I'm doing got some antenna work to do in the week, or my mate's coming around, we're putting in a new system in the satellite, because we're changing satellite companies because it's just everything's so expensive now, and you know, you just got to try and cut back where you can. Very wet. Okay, that's enough for me. There's nobody else on the list, so I'm going to hand it back to Leon. I put a test card up, and nice to see everybody, and hope to catch you next week. So let me just put a test card back up. When I see it, I'll cut transmission, and back to you, Leon, and thanks for doing the net, mate. Much appreciated. Yeah, test card. Okay, Leon, you got the microphone, and hope to catch you all next week. Too easy.
Okay, thanks, Nigel. Yeah, perfect copy that over. I don't know what Frank did. He was transmitting perfectly, and then he was hammering the keyboard, clickety, clackety, clickety, and then he took himself off air. So I don't know. Your transmission was perfect, Frank, but I think you're battling to receive yourself. Anyway, Nigel, please don't touch anything. Your equipment is working 100%. Your audio sync is way out, but that's just a little figure you can change. But your picture quality is good and your audio quality is excellent. So don't even think about touching the Pluto. It's doing its job and it's doing it well. Phil, I just want to get back to you. That receiver, you say it's from the 60s. I beg to differ. Unless it's very, very late 60s, like 69. Because I also have one, a Plessy, which is from the 60s. Because firstly, there were no LEDs in the early 60s. They were invented, well, maybe experimental ones, but it was more like in the very early 70s that they were sort of available. And I see that thing of yours is full of LEDs. The one that I've got the glossy, the receivers at my other house in Bredasdorp. It's the same size as that. It's a Plessy PR something, whatever. But it still uses Wadley loops. It's all solid state, but it's not synthesized. It's Wadley loops. And yeah, it's big and it's heavy, just like yours. It's a normal commercial communications receiver. It does all the sidebands and lots of IF bandwidth filters that you can select and all sorts of things like that. But that I know is of the 60s, and I have the original glossy document for it, and the manual, and I quickly tried to find, I know where it is, but to unpack that cupboard to find that to show it to you is, maybe next week I'll be able to show it to you. But that one is from the 60s. I think that comes from the CSIR's ship. That was the receiver in the radio room, I think. That Plessy receiver. Yeah, it doesn't look like yours at all. Because that was before the days of memories and preset things and so on. So, yeah. And it goes down to 10 kcs. 10 kcs to 30 megs. Yeah. Anyway, so I think yours is definitely much, much younger than mine. Okay, right, gentlemen. There was something else I wanted to comment on. Okay, Nigel is fine now. Frank, after me, you can try and come in again. I don't know why you cut yourself off. The Plessy receiver did. Yeah, I think we've got it all covered. So I shall officially then close the net now, the worldwide net, EDS net, and Yeah, I'm receiving everybody perfectly. I don't have any problems because I use a mini tuner. None of these fancy things that don't have AFC. The mini tuner will grab anything. It'll go and fetch it. Right. So thanks again to everybody who tuned in and the listeners on the streaming. I shall now close the net and leave the channel open for general communication. Frank, if you want to take another try, you're welcome. This is it is one mic now is switching off, but I'll be listening.
Right, how are we doing?